but now I see it, they're getting it back for him. His best friend called him and says that out in Pennsylvania, his best friend said that he heard about this company that does hiring for other companies. And my son and him went out there, and well, my son's best friend went out there the day before, and he filled out papers and about getting hired to come in here at Frontier and start help scrapping part of the north end. And so he told my son about it. So my son and I and his best friend, Jimmy Wolpert, took a ride out there the next day. We walked in there and their whole attitude changed. And they says, "We never said that. We don't know where you heard that from." And my son's best friend said, "Hey, I talked to you. You're the one that took my application." So I don't know what that was all about. I just thought I'd give you a little update on that. Hopefully that means they're not ready to start scrapping it.
Yeah. Or at least they don't want you to know they're ready to start scrapping yet.
Because I will tell you this, I did get a call from Frontier a couple days later, and because my son's name, he put his application in, and they called me from Frontier, and they wanted to know how I found out, and I told them just what I told you. The lady on the phone says, "Well, that company in Pennsylvania, they jumped the gun because we were just looking into seeing about signing a contract with them." But this Jimmy Wolpert knew the lady who worked out there, so
Sure.
she jumped the gun. But she was trying to help Jimmy.
Well, it's good to have all that as background. What we'll do is we'll meet. If Jackie can get copies of those cards,
Absolutely.
and we'll sit down and we'll talk.
Can I ask a question, Mayor?
Sure.
What specific questions could the Congressman's office and Congressman Johnson specifically ask Frontier at this point?
Okay, first I'll say this. We asked these gentlemen, we met with them. You know, U.S. Steel has been interested in that 80-inch for years. I worked there for 30 years. Back in the 80s, they used to tour that place. And they says, we already checked with U.S. Steel, and they says they have no interest. And they told Frank and I at that time, we're going to give any steel industry 3 months to respond to see if they would want to come in here and buy this steel operation and operate it or anything. But after that, they said they're going to scrap it all, except they know there's valuable equipment in there that they could resell. But I guess the questions that could be asked is really where they're at with everything, and because the rumors that they're pretty founded that there are steel makers that's going in there looking at and seeing about starting up those 3 departments, or at least 1 or 2 of them. So,
Well, like I said at the Rotary this morning, there's a lot of steel required for the oil and gas industry. It's got to come from somewhere, and there's a plant right here in our own backyard that couldn't provide that kind of stuff.
and I'll close with this. 2 summers ago, where the Chesapeake and Ed came in the valley, I went out there to St. Florian Hall and Lover's Lane, and just as a resident. Then a few weeks ago, I went back to Lover's Lane, and Chesapeake has said all along, their commitment is to the Americans. They will not buy any steel or any products from other countries. They says that they've made that known to all of us in public forum. So I would like to be able to hold them to that. You know how that works, though.
Well, I can tell you that everybody is watching with wide-eyed amazement at what's going on here with the Marcellus and the Utica shales. I know that there are many people that today are still hurting, but you might remember the ABC, I think it was an ABC News report, October of 2011 or thereabouts, that said that over 3 years, upwards of 10,000 new jobs were going to be coming to Steubenville. That by April of 2012, anyone in Steubenville that wanted a job would have a job. It hasn't happened as quickly, I don't think, as they anticipated, but I do believe it's going to happen. I have collaborated across the aisle to get help to get the Secretary of Energy to accelerate the ability to export the liquid gas. Right now, there's no market for the liquid gas here in America. We need to be able to export that liquid gas on the world market where it is much more profitable to do so, and keep those oil and gas companies going after that liquid gas, because there is a lot of it here. So my caution to you is don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Trust me, having been born and raised on a two-wheel wagon rut mule farm, I know that sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel seems like it's a train coming from the other direction, but just don't lose hope. I believe we're going to see prosperity come. It's just a matter of time. I think we got, was that your update, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, it was.
I'll take one more question and then.
I just wanted to
Yes, sir.
say that Frontier has had some investment people come in. They're talking about a possibility of running it with their backing. They've had a couple, Bain Capital is one of them, that's been in there 2 or 3 times, haven't they, Chief? And there's a couple other investment firms, so I don't know if, could possibly check into that.
Yeah. We'll look at the whole deal. I apologize that we've got to run. Madam First Lady, did you have a question?
Well, what I wanted to, I want to tell you, first of all, I appreciate your coming here. You've been here about 4 times, I think, already, and I do appreciate your talking to everyone and trying to help. And I've noticed some negative ads on television, and I wanted to give you an opportunity, if you want to, and I know you're short of time now, so if...
It won't take long.
Okay.
You're going to hear several TV ads that make claims about, one of them says that Congressman Wilson says that I sent jobs to China. That's not true. I've never been in a position to send jobs to China. In fact, Congressman Wilson has even admitted openly, and it's been reported in the press, that he's lying about my sending jobs overseas to China. Why he continues to say it and why he continues to run the television ads to say it, somebody who can maybe have his integrity quotient questioned, maybe they can get him to see it. He's also misrepresented my record on Medicare. I'm trying to protect Medicare for current seniors and make sure that future generations has that safety net. The Ohio Election Commission has founded probable cause by a vote of 4-0, including 2 members of Mr. Wilson's own party, that he's probably lying about my record on Medicare as well. So virtually everything that Mr. Wilson says about me is untrue. It's kind of like what Congressman Ryan said last week. If you can't run on your own record, then the thing to do is to try and paint your opponent as someone that they would want to run from. But here's the truth. In terms of working for the people of Ohio, I have had 5 bills passed the United States House of Representatives as a freshman legislator, and I haven't even finished my first term. One of those was signed into law. It was a bill to provide medical facility construction money for our nation's heroes, to make sure that our veterans are taken care of. The last one, right before we left Washington on our last trip, was the Stop the War on Coal Act, and stopping the administration's advancement of shutting down coal-fired power plants, shutting down underground coal mining in America, thousands of jobs at risk, companies in jeopardy of shutting down because they can't afford skyrocketing energy prices. I think what people have to ask themselves is, if someone is going to misrepresent my record, and they're not going to be truthful about their own record, they have to wonder, what else is that person not going to be truthful about? And I think the voters of the 6th District of Ohio made that decision in 2010. I think most of them are too smart to fall for this shell game again.
I really appreciate your answers, and
Okay.
I thank you very much.
You bet.
I got one thing,
Yes, sir.
just to back up everything, the last meeting you was at. I know there's a few people here, but in case you wasn't here, I had asked you who was answerable to the EPA, and you had said the only person that the EPA is answerable to, because they've got so much power, was the President of the United States. So take that into account when you see, like any president saying the EPA's got too much power or anything, EPA's only answerable to that one man only. Okay?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your service. Thanks a lot.
And where's your
Appreciate it. We'll get this.
Oh, we're going up to the school.
Sophie, take care of yourself. Okay.
You want to tour the school? Would you like to tour the new junior high?
I appreciate that.
Going to Oak School. Christmas vacation. The new building.
Tell you what, is there an office here he and I can step into, because he's a constituent and I want to talk to him in private?
Sure, we get the keys to the mayor.
Follow us.
Just hold on.
Yeah, he'll be back, I promise. I promise I get him maybe a little bit too, and